Hello, my name is Jason. Welcome to my movie review for the Isao Takahata directed film, Only Yesterday. And so this film came out in 1991. It was the follow-up to one of his most popular works, Grave of the Fireflies, big breakout hits for him as a director, and moving on to Only Yesterday. And this is the first time, in America at least, that there was an English dub version of this film. G-Kids brought the licensing for this film so they could distribute it and create a dub for this film as well. Daisy Ridley and Dev Patel are the main leads for this film, but also some pretty good performances as well from other notable voice actresses as well. Laura Bailey, Tara Strong, Ashley Eckstein, Ashley Eckstein who plays Ahsoka Tano in Star Wars Rebels right now, Tara Strong, Laura Bailey, of course, from other anime and also other animation works. They've done voice acting work over there as well, so a lot of great talent up behind this as well. I think Allison Fernandez is the name of the little girl who plays the main character in Takeo as well. And so this movie is basically following a 27-year-old office worker who travels to the countryside, and there she reminisces about childhood, where it has grown to become her, and how she's been influenced by her childhood back in 5th grade, and how that's going to influence her future decisions as well in terms of her own future, whether she wants to go back into the city or live out in the country, which is something she's always dreamed of doing before. And so for the marketing for this film is really great. G-Kids did a really good job at marketing this film and distributing it to a pretty decent amount of theaters out there to get a bigger access to people who are fans of Studio Ghibli and really want to see all the Studio Ghibli films. And now this is another collection that people can add to their film history. And so for Only Yesterday, it is a pretty decent overlooking film for the most part, I would say the least. The backgrounds are pretty simplistic with white backgrounds behind the characters, and it also plays to its strengths as well, creating very beautiful backgrounds, very beautiful scenic scenery that we do see in the countryside. Very big thing here for most Studio Ghibli films, where the countryside and the nature aspects of the story are big played parts of the story, with Taiko really wants to be part of the countryside, and she has a big desire of working in the country and really becoming a farmer, and she is really big in that lifestyle, more so than the city aspect of a busy atmosphere. Everyone's sort of being more cynical to each other. That's everyone's sort of idea of the city, more cynical, while the countryside is a little bit more sort of homegrown, a little bit homemade, a little bit more humble, to say the least. And so we do see a little more aspects of that, creating a timeless sort of feel as well, with characters in a very simplistic school aspect. And also I can kind of understand why this movie didn't really come out initially back in the 90s or early 2000s with an English dub, because Disney was very hesitant because of the very mature themes for America at the time, especially talking about sexual education that the girls do talk about in this film, talking about their periods. And it is a very touchy subject for a lot of parents here in America. Obviously other countries are very more open to their sexual education. Here in America it's very much different. Every culture talking about sex and periods and all that other stuff. There we do see some scenes of that, and a lot of people in my theater were very hesitant about these subjects, talking about periods, and also the idea of parental abuse in some sort of ways. The father in Taiko's life did hit her one time and one last time. A lot of parents did gasp at that moment, and so a very different sort of culture and lifestyle that the characters do live out, and very different sort of time periods as well, because there's a scene where the family of Taiko, they're sort of awing at a pineapple, and pineapples were very new at the time for Japan, and so it was very different for them to eat a pineapple. And so that scene was played out very long, and it really confused a lot of people because a lot of people didn't really understand that. And so more culture aspects of the film that really sort of played to the part of why they really received an English dub in the initial aspects of the film back in 1991. Daisy Ridley, coming off her success of Star Wars, is now going through another bigger company of Studio Ghibli, and so another good thing to add to her resume. Dev Patel, his voice is really charming, and it really works for his character in this film. So a soothing and charming aspect of Taiko, her older version of herself. Allison Fernandez really does a good job at the little girl character of Taiko, as well well. And so very simplistic story, nothing really too much, more of aspects of the countryside and also the scenery is more played out, and the animation of Taiko when her dream aspects is really the best animation a part of the film. And so again, very simplistic story, nothing really too much here. And so if you're looking for a grand sort of story or a grand adventure, many other Studio Ghibli films, this is not the film you're looking for. Obviously with Isao Takahata's other films in Pompoko, Grave of the Fireflies, very recent film of his, The Tale of Princess Kaguya, very other type of films that he's done, very similar animation style as well to this one, because it's placed into the old style of Asian animation, where you have the characters, how their cheeks move up a little bit, the eyes are very closed, and have a very sort of like Mao Zedong communist propaganda look to it. I don't want to compare, China and Japan, but still, it's to think of that with his propaganda poster of his eyes closed and his smiling, the rosy cheeks. Think of that's there, and that's what the most characters look like here, especially Taiko, the way they drew her character. It's really how she looks like, very old school, old-fashioned style of Asian animation here that we do see for Only Yesterday. And I would say go watch this for a pretty interesting character in Taiko. Not really too keen on her decision at the end of the story. It kind of played out very little bit too long. You had like 3 different endings basically in this movie, and the ending is pretty cute. Seeing Taiko and her older self and younger self sort of interact with each other, kind of, in some sort of ways, and also her influences on her childhood. It's very nice to look back in your past and see how it's influenced on that. And that's really big in Japan, especially with these types of stories where we have looking back at the past and see how the past can influence yourself here. And so pretty interesting story, more character driven. I would say the aspects of the animation are pretty good for the countryside, but other than that, it's nothing really too great in terms of grand scale sort of environments and worlds that we're in. More of a character piece here in the character Taiko and the characters around her. And so for rating for Only Yesterday, I'm giving this movie a 6.5 out of 10. It's pretty decent for the most part. It's very little on story, but also great animation, especially with the little kid scenes of Taiko. I think that's my favorite parts of the film, when Taiko's looking back at her childhood parts of the story are really great. When she's older and in the countryside, I wasn't really too invested into that part of the story, but her little kid stories that she has here when she looks back at her flashbacks, those are really the best parts of the film. It's really worth watching those scenes, because those are the humor and the sort of human aspects of the story, more so when she's looking back on her future. And so did you guys already see Only Yesterday? Put your thoughts on that movie in the comment section down below. If not, what's your favorite Isao Takahata film? Put your sound off in the comment section down below. Also, remember to rate, subscribe, and share this video. It really helps me. I really appreciate all that. Thank you for watching my movie review for the movie Only Yesterday. Hope you have a nice day. Bye bye.